you're still reporting on MQL volume, webinar sign-ups, or form fills, you're not proving the impact of your marketing. You're just showing activity. And that's precisely why demand gen gets labelled as risky or fluffy. To scale this strategy, your reporting must speak your broad language, revenue efficiency and growth. In this lesson, I'll show you how we changed the narrative at Cognism and started reporting B2B marketing metrics like a revenue team. If you want support from your CFO and your CEO and your board, you need to show them the business case, because they're not investing in leads, they're investing in pipeline, efficiency and predictable growth. Early on in our switch from lead gen to demand gen, I realised we couldn't keep reporting on marketing sourced MQLs when they weren't contributing to revenue. Worse, they were undermining our credibility. So we rethought the marketing metrics we reported on. And once we aligned with how sales and finance measured success, the conversation changed. Marketing wasn't seen as a cost centre anymore, it became a lever for growth. At Cognism, one of the most important shifts we made was redefining what success looked like. We moved away from reporting on how many leads we generated and started reporting on the metrics that actually drove the business. Pipeline created, revenue closed, average contract value, win rate, and sales cycle length. These are the B2B marketing metrics that the board understands. They connect marketing directly to commercial outcomes. These metrics helped us prove that demand gen wasn't just working, but scaling. We still track declared intent leads like demo requests, but only if they're genuinely ready to speak to sales. Because when someone asks for a demo after weeks of watching your content, that's not a lead, that's a future deal. As Cognism expanded into new territories, our reporting had to evolve too. We weren't just running one playbook in one market anymore. We were building pipeline across regions like NAM, DACH, and EMEA, each with its own market maturity, regulations, buyer behaviour, and cultural nuance. So we started reporting region by region. This allowed us to see what was working and where, give regional teams accountability, and invest our budget based on real return, not just split it evenly. For example, the GDPR in Germany meant engagement looked different from that in the US. If we saw strong performance in one region and slow traction in another, we knew exactly where to double down or adapt. It made our strategy more precise, and it made our reporting way more credible in board meetings. As our strategy matured, we knew structure was just as important as reporting. That's when we adopted a shared accountability model, built around a hub and spoke system. At the centre was our global demand and paid team, the hub. They own the strategy, the infrastructure and measurement. Around them were our regional marketers and sales teams, the spokes. They executed campaigns locally, brought market insights back into the centre, and helped us fine-tune. This meant every region had ownership, but we were still rowing in the same direction. We also introduced a regular cadence, weekly syncs between paid and demand to relocate budget, and fortnightly reviews with regional teams to discuss pipeline, feedback and blockers. And it worked. Instead of finger pointing, when we missed targets, we had honest data-led conversations. Everyone was accountable and everyone was aligned. One of the biggest lessons we learned at Cognism was this: if you want long-term trust and long-term budget, you need a system. That's why we introduced a clear testing framework for every campaign. We didn't just run creative ideas and hope for the best. Every test started with a structure. What's the hypothesis? What outcome are we expecting? How does it link back to pipeline or revenue? And how will we measure it? For example, if we wanted to trial a new media loop, like a founder-led podcast for sales leaders, we defined up front what success looked like, which signals we'd track, when we'd preview performance. With this, we could show our board not just that our ideas worked, but that they could scale. One of the traps with demand gen is waiting too long to prove it's working. If you only look at pipeline, you're always lagging. So we started paying attention to early signals. The things that show demand is building before a lead fills in a form. What did we track? Spikes in traffic to high intent pages like pricing and product, repeat engagement with key content like newsletters or videos, multiple people from the same company engaging, which is a big buying clue, social interactions such as comments, shares or DMs inside the ICP. These aren't vanity metrics, they're indicators of rising interest. They tell you where to focus and where demand is quietly heating up before your competitors even notice. If you want to start earning trust with your leadership team, here are a few ways to apply what we've covered. First, build an executive dashboard. Track the metrics that matter: pipeline, win rates, deal velocity, and revenue by region. Second, schedule a quarterly demand gen performance review. Bring your CMO, your VP of sales, and your CFO into the room. Share what's working, what's coming next, and where we're doubling down. Or third, outline your first test. What's the hypothesis? What will success look like? How will it link back to pipeline? So that's how we redefine reporting at Cognism and change the narrative around marketing's impact. You've now got the tools to prove that demand gen doesn't just drive attention, it drives revenue. In the next video, Liam Bartholomew, our VP of Brand and Customer Marketing, will show you how we built the brand that fuels that demand engine. From media loops to content strategy, this is how you become the brand your buyers remember. Liam will see you there.